Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Smells Like. I'm Josh. So good to see you. This is a review for L'Instant de Guerlain, the Eau de Parfum version. I recently did a review on the Eau de Toilette. That's here, 100 ml bottle of the Eau de Toilette. Now I'm going to review the Eau de Parfum. For whatever reason, in North America, this only comes in a 50 ml size. If you want the full presentation in a box, you know, with the cap and everything, or you can get a 100 ml tester online, so you can get this size without a box and without a lid. If you go online to some online discounters and stuff, so I decided to go ahead and get the little guy here because I like to have the full presentation, and I think on the shelf it looks okay next to the Eau de Toilette. So let's get into what this one's all about. Let me go ahead and spray up a little bit. Let's talk about the notes real quick. In the top we have bergamot, lemon, elemi, pepper, and star anise. The heart notes are jasmine, tea, smoke, sandalwood, and cacao. And in the base we have patchouli. So the original LIDGE, L'Instant de Guerlain Extreme, okay? I'll call that LIDGE, and just call this the L'Instant EDP. The original LIDGE came out in 2005. The perfumer is the same. The perfumer is Beatrice Piquet. She did all of the L'Instant line. She did the EDT as well. And she also did all the reformulations. In 2015 is when they changed the packaging to these, and apparently it saw reformulation. At least the Eau de Parfum, or the Extreme to the Eau de Parfum, did, because the name was changed, and for me, I can tell a difference. So I have decants of both the original LIDGE and the reformulation LIDGE that I compared with the L'Instant Eau de Parfum over the last few days I'm wearing, and there isn't such a stark difference as I thought maybe there would have been based on some other people's reviews. I've seen a couple of videos where guys said that it was like night and day comparing this with the original. In terms of smell, they're really quite similar. I had them all on test strips in front of me, and smell-wise, I had a hard time deciphering which was which. This one just has a slight bit of more of a fresh vibe and a little bit more of citrus than especially the original LIDGE, but the performance is really, it's lacking with this compared to the original LIDGE. I used to get this deep, dark, heavy, really high projecting, easy to smell in myself experience with LIDGE. It was like reminding me of like a chocolate orange. It was just so rich. It worked really well in cold weather, and I enjoyed wearing it once the weather turned cool. This really has been standing up far less in terms of projection. I actually have been getting similar performance to the EDT, actually, just in terms of longevity. They're about similar. I mean, anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, just depending on the weather and the conditions and things, which that's fine in terms of longevity for me. But my experience with the original LIDGE had just been that it projected so well. And to have this where I just feel like I'm not getting the projection that I want and that I had with the original LIDGE. The scent breakdown in the way that it sort of develops as a scent, to me, is pretty similar to the EDT. It opens with this citruses, kind of a lemony citrus. There is this rindy kind of green bergamot. The elemi resin, which is a resin that kind of has a mentholated camphorous thing, and so you get this kind of mentholated opening with the citruses. A little bit of the pepper. Now the pepper I don't think was in the original LIDGE. I don't remember there being like a black pepper in the opening. The star anise is prevalent here. As you get into the heart, it really is all about this sort of smoky tea note. And again, in the original LIDGE, I don't think there was as much of an emphasis on smoke. I don't remember there being a smoky aspect. I don't think there was. And this smoky tea mid that you get in the heart of the EDP, the newest one here, is different to me. Also in the heart here is where they've put the sandalwood and the cacao, and I believe in the original LIDGE those were more base notes. Those were more heavy-handed, they were a bit darker, and they were more blended with the patchouli. Here those really work more like heart notes. You get this sort of creamy smooth sandalwood mixed with the cacao, and they really are working hand in hand. And it works. They really come in kind of on the back of that smoky tea note as the citruses and that kind of mentholated citrus and star anise are beginning to fade. The star anise pretty much hangs on throughout the entire fragrance. And then in the base, you just have this patchouli. And that's where this one falls flat a little bit, and where I don't really get the long-standing life of fragrance that I'm used to with the old versions of this. This really just dries down into a scent that is really just basically patchouli. I don't get that play on patchouli and cocoa together where they were always kind of different sides of the same coin. This really dries down to a fragrance where it's just kind of a patchouli dominated scent, and you have all those things kind of left over from the heart, but nothing is blended together with the patchouli where you're getting like, different faces of the same fragrance, which is what I love about the EDT, which is what I used to love about LIDGE. And so that's where this one lets me down a little bit. Like I said, the smell, the overall smell, just when you smell it on, is still pretty similar. But there are just these slight differences in terms of how it develops on the skin that I just mentioned. So those are really the differences. It isn't so much that it smells a lot different, although it does smell slightly different than the original LIDGE. It's got that pepper, like I mentioned. It has that smoke note. So the smell is slightly different, but on paper, they were still quite similar, just in terms of the scent. But like I said, it's in the way it develops that really I notice the biggest difference. And then of course, the lack of projection here. That's the biggest letdown for me, is that this just doesn't jump off the skin for me. I did with this what sometimes I do, where I call it wishful wearing, where I just keep putting more and more on, expecting that it's gonna project and perform the way that I wanted it to, when I put on, I just got this 3 days ago, and look how much I've already used of it. That just kind of shows you the wishful wearing that I've been doing. I wanted this to be close to the original, and to perform at least a little bit closer to that, and just the awesome performance that I'm used to. Even with the EDT, I feel like I get really great performance with this. This is one of my favorite early fall fragrances. But the Eau de Parfum, I was hoping would kind of darken things up, intensify some things, and really push through the colder weather for the later part of fall and into the winter. I don't know if I'm gonna get what I kind of wanted out of this. It still smells great, don't get me wrong. It still smells of high quality. It's still a Guerlain, and this is still better than most things you're gonna find on the designer counter in department stores right now. So take all my comparisons with LIDGE with a grain of salt, because this is still a great fragrance. It still smells awesome. It still has a better, high quality, better blend than a lot of those. So I do think it's still worth having, especially for the price. This 50 ml, I got it for $26 through Google Express online. So for $26 for this, I don't mind spraying to kind of boost the performance a little bit, to get what I want and be able to smell it on myself. I also find if I spray it on my clothes, spray it on my sweaters, on my shirts, my jackets, then it really does project, and I'm satisfied with the amount of projection and the amount of, I guess, just the experience that I get myself of being able to smell it on me. So if you take the price that this can be had into consideration, take the overall longevity, the quality of this fragrance, this still comes in at a pretty high mark for me, and this still comes in as in the top echelon of designer scents for me. So I know I talked a lot about LIDGE and comparing it with that. But for me, it still is a worthy scent. It's still worth having. I want to have the set of both of these. Overall, it still smells quite similar to the original. Most people, unless you're just really into this fragrance like I am, most people aren't able to tell that big of a difference. Really just dials down to whether that lacking projection is a deal breaker for you. For me, it's not. I'll still really enjoy wearing this fragrance for the rest of the fall season and into the winter time. I also think maybe layering these two together could be a way to get a nice solid dark base down, but then get some of that projection in the air that I get from the EDT. So definitely still a fan of L'Instant de Guerlain. Let me know in the comments if you've had much experience with these in terms of the reformulations and all that, if you've noticed the differences from the old versions to the new. Love to hear your thoughts on that. And if you'd like to do this again sometime, be sure to hit the subscribe button. So we'll see you right here for the next video on the Smells Like Fragrance channel. Thanks so much for watching.